Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of The Outsiders. My name's Jerome, and it's a pleasure to have you guys listening. Thank you guys for listening to the past couple episodes. I know the last episode about how Black women are viewed, and I might just touch on that to begin. Um, how Black women are viewed by Black men specifically within the Black communities, and the reasons why this has happened or why it's this point of view. Well, interestingly enough, over the past few days, I just being on social media saw a situation arise. I don't know the name of the show, so please don't, you know, bookmark me on that specific information. But when I think this guy has a podcast by the name of No Fugazi, and I've seen his podcast or seen clips from his podcast. I haven't listened to a podcast of his, but he's been doing podcasts for some time and he's been sharing his opinion on things. Now, the funny part is that I've seen clips where I've like thought, yeah, kind of makes sense. But I was watching on YouTube today, I think Abba and Preach, and those guys are like OGs within, I guess, content space. I don't know, social commentary space. And they were speaking about him going on a show where a woman asked him if he considers himself a top quality man or a high value man. And his answers were mainly material, where he was saying that he makes over 100K a year, which is good. He's over 6'4", he's black, so he would consider himself a high value man. No, first things first, love Abba and Preach, but they trolled the whole thing. Like they trolled him for probably I don't even know. Um, for most of it, I think they did like a 30, no, I think probably 20 minutes of trolling this guy. Now, in trolling him, they were showing other clips, and that's where it came to my attention that this guy literally mainly has black people on his show, and he always kind of, in a way, do the Kevin Samuels things to the women. And I mean, Kevin Samuels was doing his thing. I think he, however, still was dating black. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I don't want to speak on it as if I have that full information, especially at the front of my mind, because it's not something that I follow consistently. So, so yeah, Kevin Williams used to do these things where he would, kind of belittle women, but I think he did it from a broader spectrum. Although I must say it, his audience seemed to be predominantly black and black women also. So this guy came out and he was on the show and he was saying that he's a high value man. And then you found certain clips of him talking to women in a specific way about women also in a specific way, saying that if a woman's single with kids or something of the sort, then it's just for recreation or something. It was very disrespectful, to be honest. Very disrespectful. And in doing so, I think that so everybody kind of got on him for that. So, knowing nothing about this guy, I left it alone. A couple more days passed. Funnily enough, today I think I came on, it's how the algorithm works. I came on YouTube and I saw another Alan Breach video, and it said like is is no Fugazi actually Fugazi? And to be honest, I was surprised. So he always said something like preaching that, yo, if you are a baby mama, then you're not supposed to be taken serious. It's found out that this guy, one, lives with a white woman, or at least white presenting. She looks white. I have no clue. And then also, she has two kids before hooking up with him. and they've been together for like 7 years, and I think they now probably have 2 kids, or one is in the belly, one is in the oven. So for me, I mean, that's an interesting spin on things. And even the content he does with her is like kind of cringe. And I think to myself, and I'm like, how do people operate like this? So this is might be what the podcast will be about. How do people operate in this manner, knowing that they know themselves? This goes across multiple fronts, maybe not just the podcast space or content creator space, but just in general. There are people who currently exist in this world who they present themselves a specific way, especially in front of a camera or in front of a mic. And then over time, it comes to the front that they don't really have it, or they're not together like that. And it like I was watching it and it peeved me. I watched the thing multiple times and it genuinely peeved me because this guy puts up such a show of being the man, like he's a high value man, quote unquote, but like he's not living by what he teaches or what he's trying to teach. And it's like the same red pillar thing, the red pillar with these guys being, take the other route of things. Don't trust people, because if you trust people, this will happen, or whatever it is, and it just kind of blows my mind that, like, did he think this was never going to be found? Did he think that no one would know the life that he actually lives? When you know, all right, I think in general about the world is that there are people who genuinely have haters no matter what. Like, you have no choice as to who your hater is. You literally don't. As much as people might want to say it, you actually don't. People will hate you for being nice to them. People will hate you for not being nice to them. People will hate you for just existing. And just from that point of view, why would you be spreading the things that you spread online without thinking about your, like I think my grandma would have something like, keep your house clean before you go outside and make a mess, like, don't have a mess and then go outside and trying to clean everything. Like, you know what kind of example are you trying to send to the world? What's the message? What are you trying to get across to people? How can you do that without feeling, you know, any bit of it's almost like you live a second life. And these things go to being sociopath or a psychopath even, because it's like, what's the function in your mind that, and maybe that's why some people get to take some risk and some can't. Because for me, there are reasons why I probably never did a podcast before, or reasons why I wouldn't try to over market myself as a podcast or try to get heavy attention right now, because I know where I am. No, not saying that I'm speaking on anything controversial. I guess, even look at this prime example. The last episode I spoke about black men being with black women. My partner, my girlfriend is Spanish, like Spain Spanish. And she's also Mediterranean. Like, I mean, my country was colonized by the Spaniards, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I can't be facing and acting as if I am the example of what I'm trying to show. Now, there are reasons why this happened and why I'm with someone of a different race, but it wasn't necessarily by, it wasn't, how would I say, it wasn't something that I was looking for. So me going now on a podcast and being like, yo, yeah, if you're black, you have to be a man where have all the woman them and control yourself, and I'm here with one woman, you know The things like sell that, you're the most. If imagine saying, I'm the most faithful man in the world, and then you check and you find out that he's sending DMs to girls, sharing nudes, having OnlyFans accounts with different people that he interacts with, and it's like, what is that thing that's in the mind that makes someone believe, oh, let me follow this, let me go all the way through this when I am not the example. I want to be the example of whatever I share. I want to be the one, so even with the last episode where I stated, or the episode about black women, it might not be the last one because I have another one doing, but even with that, the perspective I shared about maybe growing up in a home where the mom is, my mom is fully black, but well, not 100% black. Maybe if she did, what do you call that thing? One of those DNA testing things, you might find out that she's 5% Irish or whatever. But my mom is not, my mom is mixed, or she presents mixed. But I grew up with my mom and my dad in the house. It wasn't something like my mom would have never said to me, hey, don't talk to some. So I can't understand it because I did not grow through it. So from the perspective where I'm speaking from, it's like, it's not that I hate black. To be honest, most of my life I've been with black women. I've been with black women, been in relationship for 4 years and such. So it's not something that I don't necessarily live. But yeah, I mean, this one definitely put me off to some extent because I just couldn't understand why someone would be of that ilk. Like, even we can go to Diddy, which of course it's clear that he's some kind of sociopath. Diddy went so far into this thing about being brother love and stuff like that. And when you hear these stories about him, you have to wonder, like, why do you preach this? Like, why is it that, fine, I agree that someone can turn the page, someone can change, society changes. Prime example, Kevin Hart. He made the comment on his Twitter that time with the whole, I think it was the Oscar or something he wanted to host, and they found a tweet of him saying that he would never, if his son could never tell him that he's gay or something of the sort. Now, that punishment that Kevin Hart got to not do the Oscars, I don't think was just. Because one, anyone knowing a certain social media platform, this was probably when he had 10 followers and all his followers he knew. It's a joke. It's what they probably say to each other. It's probably, you could not read it and know. And at that time he was probably, I don't know, 10 years younger. Would you say, for example, Obama is the worst president of all time because he did not believe in gay marriage? Because I can assure you, when he got in office, he was against it. But then over time, what happened? He's the one that helped it get over the line. So sometimes you give people room for growth. So I'm not using that point of view. I'm saying, if Diddy decided, okay, I'm going to be brother love from now on, and all I'm doing is sharing love and positivity to the world, and all of that jazz that he tried to bring across, think about when you then get pissed. Think about when you go home and you beat your girl, or you having these wild sex parties where people are being forced to do actions that they don't want to do, when people are getting drugged into situations. Just if you think about that, how can you go out now and sell? And I think what I probably use as my marker is just the concept of family first. So for me, if I was out here, I don't know, abusing someone physically or even verbally, whichever way, I would want to know, if I had a son, what would he think about me? Well, because when you get quote unquote caught, everything comes out to light, and there is a perspective of it being normalized, but you don't want to be the one that started. You know how much things I assume his kids probably go through now, you know, how it affects his kids' trajectories in life. Like, because one was on the verge of becoming a rapper. How many people are going to go and actually work with him now? How I would be hesitant to do so, So for me, it's a bit mind blowing at times that people tend to put something front facing that is just definitely not it. It's you want to be you and present yourself as you. Why wouldn't you not want that? Is it that you lack the self love, the self control? And this is me speaking as someone who probably does not have that, or did not, or is in the process of changing his level of self esteem. And for me, I would not start a podcast preaching on Black women and why they're not quote unquote quality candidates, right? Why would I do that? I get that content can generate money. As he said, he's making 100,000 a year. That is great for him. But how long can that go? And how much will that take you? How far will that take you? That is just beyond unfortunate. And I think we have to look at it. Like, there are different types of men out there, and some of these men tend to probably think that a woman of the lighter skin is the ultimate prize because of, the generations of we not being able to look at them, or we were lynched for it to for them, so for looking at them. So now we have the opportunity to fill our eyes, So when you tell someone that they can't have something, then the desire grows. And a friend of mine said that, So, like, imagine it took, at least in the US, it wasn't until, like, I think she said 1973 when interracial marriages were legalized. So then, like, for them, it's like they've made it when they can get something that they couldn't have. It's almost like legalizing weed, and then everyone's going to want weed. But you have to look into yourself and be who you are and find what you really love or what you're looking for in life. It's disappointing. I'm not proud of it. I feel a bit ashamed about it. Like, within this red pill space, they do tend to mix things that probably would be valuable information with things that are just almost hate speech to some extent. And it's extremely unfortunate. And I wish, there are people who little by little try to change this. I know I'm going to try and do my part, but I can't promise that it will always work. I can't promise that what I put into the world will work, but I think personally, Black women are beautiful. I have been attracted to tons of Black women. I've been, I tried to be me as I am. If I decided I don't like a specific race, or a specific let's put it preference, because that's what they like to say. If I have a specific preference, then that's just me. But look into why it is. Look into why it's not your preferred. You know, there's so many ways to address how you think about things and how you think about people. And I mean, again, for me, it's just quite disappointing because I do believe that as a culture, we are rich in information and how we look at things. And sometimes, and this is just being genuine, the union of that provides some strength. And we need more of that. I would love to see more of that. It's unfortunate that we don't have enough for that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I try to be me, and I think sometimes the things that I've seen and allowed to control my mind and what I believe is what probably holds me back from success. Because granted, maybe Fugazi has these point of views, but also he's not able to live his point of views. And he still took the step to go out there and share his point of views, which to some extent is some form of bravery. But keep your house clean before you make a mess somewhere else, man. That's just the fact. That's just something I feel like we should all have learned over this time in our life. So yeah, I don't know I'm not the biggest follower of it, so I don't even know what angle to look at it from if I'm going to ever speak on this guy again. Not my intention to, but yeah, it's 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 unfair. It's unfair to multiple people, and I don't know. I've never done any social studies of this sort, but they need to look into that, and not only just look into that, try and fix it. Try and make it that, when there were a lot of girls that wanted to have a big bum because black girls had it and they tried to get it. We need to have more of that happening. We need to have more of where they want everything that we have and have to put themselves into that to gain a partner. Because that's the thing, women have to do a lot of that to gain a partner, if we're being honest. Man, it's a tough situation to deal with. But anyways, thanks for listening to my random rant. I swear to you, this time this episode was not meant to go like this. But thanks for listening. And if you can, like, comment, share, subscribe. I I don't know if I would love the engagement that I could get from it, but I guess we'll see. Thank you guys for listening, and this has been another episode of The Outsiders. Peace.